I've got something new to test out. Shout out to ALLPOWERS for sending this out. And let's see how good this camping battery power pack really is. If you want to go camping with a battery power pack and not live like a peasant worrying about electricals. Maybe I need a better camping table. So what do we have? Including nibble that Dennis had a go at it. I hope that's not damaged it. So what do you get in the box after all of that fantastic packaging? It all comes fantastically padded, professional, and all black and fancy. And there's another box too. See you later, Aurora. Bye. Now, if you want to go with all the specifications and fancy stuff with this thing, then I'm just going to put them up here. But that's not the reason why you're watching this video, is it? Yeah, that's kind of the camera, isn't it? Enjoying your bike? She's not interested in battery packs or solar panels, but I am. So what does the solar panel look like? Ooh, fancy. Look at that. 140 watts of solar power goodness. So what are these things that came in the box for? I think they must clip on to the back bits here, like that. Is that how they're supposed to go? I refuse to look at the instruction manual. I think I've seen these before, and they're supposed to be like handles so that you can like flip it back and then it props up like that. Obviously without that bit flapping on. And then you can position your solar panel whichever way you want to, just kind of facing the sun. Seems like a good idea. Why would you not have that as a standard feature of all of your solar panels? Because if I'm camping and it's strapped to the roof of this thing, then it's just on the roof. I can't position it and it's stuck. This bad boy, I can put it wherever I want. The first impressions of this thing are pretty good. I mean, it's got all of the fancy bits that you'd need. How'd you turn it on? Is that it? How did you turn it on? Does it even have any juice when it comes out the box? What's in this box? Power charger. Looks like a laptop charger. Might have to give it some juice. Okay, it says it's charging, but it also says it's at 0%, which isn't much good. I wonder how long it's going to take to charge. But this isn't really the premise of this video. The one thing that you're all wondering is how long can I use this battery for when I'm camping? And since I've last done one of these battery test videos, I've upgraded my camping gear. Da, 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 da. I got a new camping fridge. This isn't a camping fridge video, but I'm gonna have to use that for science. And I know I shouldn't wave scissors at people. Look at how shiny it is. Now I can keep my beer cold. But for how long for? How long can this bad boy keep this thing freezing cold while you are camping? Because I don't know about you, but when I've been camping before, the most important thing that I need to take into consideration is how long are my refreshments going to stay cold for, as well as, you know, other perishables and food. What's the main electrical that you're going to need to rely on while you're camping? It's this thing. So you buy one of these to charge it, and you're going to want to know that it works. And it's only been charging for about 20 minutes and it's already got 99 watt hours, but also 1% charge. Which I don't understand because it's supposed to have over 600 watt hours. And like you, I'm impatient, so I'm only gonna give it maybe an hour's worth of charge and we're gonna rely on the rest from this thing. But I don't wanna leave it outside because I'm not entirely sure if it's waterproof. So let's see if I can't attach it to this wall maybe. This test is also going to see how long that handle lasts. Where's the cables? Oh yeah, they're in this pocket behind here. Oh yeah, fancy. This is actually really awkward. I'm going to take it back off again for a sec. So the panels are connected in there. That's the solar panel controller. Obviously you want it to be as sunny as possible. Those are extra panel-y things. An instruction manual. Not going to read that. So these are the two main cables that I want. And I'm no electrician, but the colours do seem a little bit self-explanatory. And they even have nice colours on here to help you out as well. Red to red. And if you're wondering how do I make sure that it's the right one, well, they've got the other connectors, so you really can't even put the wrong one in. You can even charge it off other stuff as well, like your car and whatever that is. So at the moment I've got both plugged in and it's giving me a reading of about 101, 102, 103. Now at first I thought that was 103 watt hours, but it hasn't really gone up anymore. That must be what it's inputting it by, and I guess at that rate it's going to take about 6 hours to fully charge. What if we just make it on the solar though? And at the moment it's kind of late afternoon, pretty much directly on the solar panel, and that's giving me about 52, 53 watts. I think it's only really fair if I plug the mains in and give it a bit more juice. Plug it back in. While that's charging, let's set up my fridge. Now this bad boy has an array of different outputs. I've got standard 12 volts there. I've got standard 240 volts there, 2 of them. I've got 3 USB ports, a USB-C port, 1 of them. I don't have any appliances to plug into that. What even is it? I've got a 12 volt socket there, and I've got some fancy lights, 2 of them. So I can have a disco. And if I want to get really fancy, I can connect it to my Bluetooth and I can change between DC and AC. Or being in Australia, I should say AC, DC. I think I'm going to plug my fridge into the 12 volt. Because the electrician in me, I am not an electrician, suggests that that's probably the lower power outage. Answers in the comments. Am I correct, or am I just going to blow up my fridge? Satisfying sound. Now I'm not going to turn it on yet because that would be unfair in my test. So I'm going to give it an hour. We'll see how it goes.
1 hour later.
Okay, so I'm back after an hour and someone's trimming hedges over there. But the power pack still hasn't charged fully yet. It's up to 26%. It's been going for about an hour and a half nearly. Now, according to the instructions, it should take an hour and a half to get up to 80%. But to do that, you also need to be using your USB-C charger. I found one and it's currently charging and it's giving me 111 watt hours. But how much is the USB-C actually giving me? Let's take it out. Taking it out, it's on 109 watt hours. It's only giving me 2 watt hours. Plug it back in, goes back up to 111. Is that it? What about if I take the solar out? Yep, still 111. Ooh, 112? No, still 111. Maybe it's because it's the first charge. Either way, because it's science, I feel like I'm gonna have to leave it charging until it's 100%. I don't want to because I'm impatient, but science. How long is this going to take to charge up?
A few moments later.
Great success. So I've come back after an hour and it's kind of not charged yet, but I have found out one thing. If you want to charge your ALLPOWERS quicker and get up to full power in about an hour and a half, according to the spec, then you need to charge it with both the regular charger and the USB-C charger. And when you do that, you get about 174 watt hours, which compared to its original charging at about 100 watt hours is nearly double. Only problem is, who else has a USB-C to USB-C charger? Because you can't do it off of a USB-A into USB-C. That gives you about an extra 2 watts. It has to be USB-C into USB-C. So my problem is, my only other charger is another power pack. So yes, I can charge my power pack up, but I'm using another power pack to do so, to make it faster, which does seem a little bit weird, particularly as my other power pack isn't an ALLPOWERS power pack. How many times can you say power pack in the same sentence? And I've also figured out that this dial over here keeps jumping up in different numbers. So I don't think that that's the total amount of charging time, because I haven't been here for 102 minutes. I think that is the total amount of power in your power pack. So the dials on the front seem a bit confusing if you don't know what you're looking at and refuse to look at the instructions. But already I can see that the power's going up much faster since I've been here. Currently at 32%, but I'm unsure as to whether I'm going to have enough time using the solar before our science experiment can start. Okay, I'm changing the rules. To make it fair, I'm going to power up the power pack to 100%, then plug in the solar. So then it's only running off the solar, and let's see if it can power my fridge. For how long is the question. Also, I've thrown on the cover, which should give it a little bit more insulation. And this is, to be fair, a true camping setup. I've just got a power pack charging a power pack. I'll get back to you when it's charged. The ALLPOWERS one.
Several bad puns later.
The time has come. It is getting dark. Right, the sun's pretty much gone down. This thing's not going to be much good anymore. But it doesn't matter, because we are now at 99%. That'll have to do. So we are officially taking that cable out. We are now just on the solar. Guess I should plug the fridge in then. Burp. Turn her on. Turn her on. Why is nothing happening? Probably got to press one of these buttons. Consider I'm using DC. Oh, that makes sense. Now these are on. Oh wait, let's turn it off. So we're on. We don't want it at 28 degrees. Don't want it at 1, probably 5. And then in the interests of science, should we only just turn 1 on? Let's see what we can do for at least one evening. I wouldn't want to ruin the experiment and just only have one side on. But then that's not a real camping experience, is it? Let's have one side fridge and one side freezer. So then that one Probably needs to be like frozen, I guess. Let's not go too crazy. 5 degrees and -5. Let's see if it drains the battery. So considering the compressor's now going and it's trying to get them down to temperature, this is saying it's going to go 44, 45 watt hours. And I'm assuming that there means it's got 8 hours of power. But once this thing kind of gets to temperature, it's not going to use that much power and it will just keep it hovering around about the right temperature it needs to be. And that's why I've got the cover for it, because then at least it's going to keep it properly insulated and hopefully keep my beer cold. Speaking of cold beer, oh, she's a cold one. So that is the experiment. Can this fridge, that power pack, keep this beer so cold? And I guess if I'm camping for a week, Sunday today, will this still be cold on Friday? I guess we're going to find out. See you later, mate. See you on Friday. Let the experiment begin. Oh, she's chewing 88 watts now. What's it going to be like in the morning?
Tomorrow.
Good morning. It is the morning. I'm just about to walk the dog. He wants to go out. But that is not the important question. The important question is the fridge still on? Early signs are good. Shush you, dog. Beer is more important than you. Early signs are good. Still got some lights on here. I don't know why, do you have to press that button to turn the control panel on? And we are down to 42%. So to cool down the fridge and to keep it at temperature overnight took about half of the battery. And as you can see, we now have sunshine. Well, I'm getting no power added into the system, but that's because the sun is technically over there and my panel is here. So even with not the ideal power setup, because I suppose if you were camping you just point it in the right direction, how much will the solar panel charge up the battery by the time I get home from work? But now off to walk this dog.
The very next evening.
Later in the day, how is the battery going? There is sun on the solar panel. What is the battery gonna say? What do we reckon? Full? Half full? Well, it was on 47%, wasn't it? So let's see. I'm gonna go with 80%. Again, gotta press the weird light button. We're at 13. And bad news, the fridge has turned itself off. Has this turned itself off in the day? Uh-oh, that is no good. So has the power pack died? That isn't the best thing in the world, is it? Guess we've got to check the status of the beer. I mean, it's saying 20 degrees, so that's probably not a good thing. But she is cold. That is genuinely cold. I mean, not 20 degrees cold, but I guess if you've got a proper camping fridge, then that's not a bad thing. How about the frozen bit? Yeah, no, that's not cold really either. Maybe I've got these settings too high. Because I was setting it on 5, but it was still going down to like 2 degrees. So maybe I've got it on max, not eco. Maybe I need to run this experiment again. So I'm going to set that to 2. And that to 7 or 8, and then put that to eco, because I had the settings much lower earlier, and 5, and then I think maybe something like -5, but it was making it much colder, which I guess is going to drain the battery unnecessarily. I'm getting 56 watts at the moment off that solar panel. It's like +4 in the afternoon. This solar panel isn't also set up in the most effective way, because I mean that is facing kind of north over there. Is the tree blocking it? I don't think that solar panel's in the best place. So what can I do to make this a fairer test? I'm probably going to have... No, do you know what? I'm just going to run it. I'm just going to run it and see how it goes. Because we've still got 12%. We've still got some sunshine left. I'm going to leave it be and see how it goes. And we'll come back when it's dark and we'll have an update.
12 seconds later.
Update. What have we learnt from this experience? Well, if you're going to do everything wrong, the battery pack's only going to last about a day. When I say everything wrong, this is the things that I did wrong. Because I'm a noob. Number 1. Don't really know how this thing works because it's also brand new. Turns out I had the settings all wrong. There's an eco mode. I'm assuming eco means you use less power. So let's put it to eco this time. Temperature wise, I had the settings far too low. So I'm setting the fridge temperature to 10, but it's already put it down to 4. And I'm setting the freezer temperature to 0, and it's already at -3. So whatever reason, this King's fridge freezer combo is already running a little bit cold. So why use extra power if I don't need to? Issues with the battery pack. The connector seems either a little bit loose, or this isn't fitting in properly, but I've decided to push it in really, really far, because I did try using the other charger, but when I plugged it in, it was using probably about 60 watts instead of the 40 to 50 watts
when it's off the DC. Again, don't want to be using too much power now. The battery pack won't last longer. That's literally the whole point of this test. Why would you want to make it even worse than it is? I already have done that. Solar panel. You'll notice it's no longer on the side of the wall. I put it down here because science says that it needs to be at a bit of a better angle towards the sun. Pesky science. So to give it more of a chance, I've decided to kind of lay it down a little bit like my solar panels on my roof, because weirdly enough, if solar panels aren't working like they should do, maybe make them work like the rest of the solar panels which do work. Again, checked all of the connections and made sure they're all in. And the final bit of the test, because you've already noticed if you're eagle-eyed, is that I've charged the battery pack up to full and charged the fridge up to full as well, or full cold if that's a thing. And the other thing I was thinking was when I was using the fridge and the battery pack last time, it was completely battery pack only, and I used probably more than 20% of the power just cooling the fridge down to temperature. And if I was really going camping with this whole setup, I'd have it in the ute and I'd have it cooling down already. So when we got camping, the fridge and the freezer would already be cold and the battery pack would already be at 100%. So I think this is a pretty fair test now. I guess there's only one thing to do. Just disconnect the main power. And that's it. You're all on your own now, buddy. May the odds be ever in your favour. Please work, and we'll see how long the battery pack lasts.
Later that same evening.
This dog wants to go for a walk, but he has to wait because we've got to check this battery. Good news, there are still lights on it. And even better news, there's still lights on that. But we knew the battery was going to last at least a day. We did that last time. How much power is left in it? Again, because I still don't know how to turn the screen on otherwise. We are at 99%. And the cable is out. She's just been running on the solar. Does that mean I'm a solar engineer because I know how to put that thing out properly now? But that has been good enough as it is. The dog approves. Powered this all up. We're already at temperature. And it proves I was putting the settings a little bit wrong. And I guess that's alright for a fridge. Although maybe we'd want it a tiny bit cooler. So if you're going 1 degree lower than 10, if I set it at 7, that should put it about 6. And if I put it at -2, then that's definitely cold. Then that will definitely be freezing and keep frozen stuff frozen. I know you should normally have it a little bit more frozen than that, but I don't know. I'm concerned it's going to eat up all the battery. But if we've started at 100%, surely it should keep alright overnight. We shall see. And then will the solar panels be able to keep it topped up again? Because it's done it alright for that, on that temperature. Yes, it has. Yes, I know. So far, it's all looking pretty good. I mean, better than it was and when I was hanging up the solar panel incorrectly. Just goes to show if you have an idiot operating it, it's probably not going to do what it was intended to do. But it still did alright at 1 day. I think that basically proves that the battery pack has about a day's worth of charge in it if you're not even going to use the solar panel. An unlikely thing to find out, all in the name of science. Let's see how it copes overnight. You want to go for a walk?
8 hours later.
Good news! It's still working. How do I know that it's still working? Because the idiot operator left the light on last night. Yeah, getting me to test this probably wasn't the greatest idea considering I don't really know what I'm doing. But everything's still working, so despite an idiot operator, the battery pack is doing alright now that I know how to use it. The lights are still on, including the light that I left on. Best turn that off. And we have 52%, which is much better than last time because overnight and cooling the thing down, it left it on about 12%, which really isn't doing well for the next day. Speaking about doing well for the next day, she's a bit cloudy. And I haven't checked the weather forecast, but that might not do well for the solar. So this will be a good test. I think I've got the temperature settings right, and I reckon most people would be happy with 4 degrees and -4. So like my dad used to tell me when operating electrical stuff that I didn't really know about, just don't touch it now. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Let's set the solar panel back up. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is this solar panel here started to bow a little bit. I don't think it really affects the functionality of it. And it's probably got something to do with how I was sitting it yesterday, kind of propped up against the wall. But today I've decided to use these legs again. And I reckon in between using it and storage, because it all kind of folds up, it probably will be okay again. But at the end of the day, the solar panels are so thin that it's going to be a bit of movement in them. Look at me sounding like a solar panel power pack expert. I'd know nothing. So this is the status for today. 52%. Settings are on the slightly tougher setting to make it cooler. I've definitely turned the light off. I guess the test is, can we get this bad boy back up to 100% on what could be a reasonably cloudy day? And not a good start because it's only been about 20 seconds and the leg has kicked out for the solar panel. Are they even supposed to be used as legs?
One extremely annoying shift later.
Update. It has been raining today. Very, very cloudy. And I didn't want to test the waterproof capabilities of this solar panel. So I asked my wife, can you bring it inside for me and don't leave it in the wet? So I don't know how much the batteries had to charge. Should we find out? Press the magic button. We are on 24%. Is that going to be enough to get it through the night and then onto another charge tomorrow? I'm going to turn the settings back up in the hope that at least this is like the minimum that for camping right now. And is that going to be enough? 24%. So I've set the fridge to the max 10 that it's going to do. Freezer set on freezing. I guess I'll see you tomorrow and we'll find out. Do you think it's going to work? Otherwise, this test is going to be over.
Early the next morning.
Has she managed to get through the night? Well, the good news is yes. Just. She's on 6% and you can hear the compressor whirring away. But with the weather that we have today, I'm not holding up much hope for this thing being on later. We've had rain already today. It's really cloudy. Forecast is for more intermittent rain. And I know even with my solar panels on the roof, you're not going to get much solar today. I'm going to have to put these solar panels on the floor and just chance it with the rain. Even where they are under the eaves of the house, I mean, they don't feel too bad. And I'll just have to kind of put it in a way that water flecks off of it if there is any that comes down in the rain, and just hope it can keep our little fridge charged. But I've not got much hope. I've hidden all the cables and all the important stuff right underneath the solar panel. I'm just gonna have to give it a go. This really is being put under the ultimate test by both the weather and the idiot that's trying to use it. Stay alive, little man. I want a cold beer later.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Oh my god, it's still alive. Look, 52%. Okay, so the temperature's on the warmer side, but that's because I set the settings really high. We can bring them down again. That one's still cold. But the solar panel worked! Because despite the weather forecast in Queensland, it turned out to be really sunny. I mean, it was 33 degrees on my way home. But the solar panel worked! I'm even going to move it, I think, into the sun a bit more over here. But I thought this bad boy was going to die. I left it on 6% this morning, and now it's up to 52. Which I don't think is bad going, considering it was grey as when I left it this morning. But I think if you're actually using all of the equipment properly, probably going to last continuously. Let's go for some final thoughts. Oh, even though it says 10 degrees, that is nice and cold. Hello boy, hello boy. You want a bit? You want a bit? Yeah, you sick git. Now, get away. So how good is the ALLPOWERS S700? Alright, with the 140 watt solar panel. Do you know what? Despite, given the, what do you want? Given the test that I've put it through, it's not actually that bad. Are you gonna calm down? No. Considering when we first opened it up, I had no idea how to use it. I had no idea how to use the camping fridge. I didn't know what settings to put on it. I didn't even really know how to put the solar panel out. How long would this battery pack last? A good day, possibly even a bit longer. For most camping trips over one night or two, this solar panel pack is going to be absolutely fine. But what about for your more long-term camper? Well, the answer to that is it's probably going to be pretty good too, as long as the weather's okay. Being only 140 watts, it does struggle a little bit if the weather isn't sunny. But being in beautiful sunny Queensland, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And if you're going to compare this to most camping setups, like if you've got a camper trailer or a camper van, most of the time they've probably got two solar panels. And these are normally powering two batteries, so one on the go while one is charging. Well, the ALLPOWERS S700 with the solar panel can do both. You can charge and you can use it at the same time. Will it power your standard camping setup? Well, as long as you know a few tricks and what settings to use on it, it's going to be okay. Are you drinking my beer? Now, I've left this thing all day. Would that really happen when you're camping? I don't know, maybe not. I could move the solar panel with the sun, I could make sure it's set up properly, and whilst I'm not going to sit there watching, making sure it's charging effectively, I am going to be able to come back and check it to make sure that at least my camping setup is running properly. So once you get the hang of how to use it, setting it up correctly and making sure that it's always going to be charged isn't really going to be a problem. But when it comes to the important questions, is it going to keep your beer cold? Well, even on the highest setting and the most efficient use of the battery pack, she's still pretty cold. So if you need a battery and solar setup for your camping needs, and you don't want one that's going to be permanently fixed to your car or your camper trailer, and you just want something that's mobile and easy to move, this is the perfect setup. If you're interested in getting one, then follow our link down in the description, and any purchases made through there will give us a small commission, and it really helps the channel out. And if you want to see some of our other camping adventures with other bits of kit, then check this video out. See you next time.